Welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday, September the 16th. This is Hurricane Hub Live. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis, and here we are past halfway through the month of September, still without any named storms in the Atlantic Basin so far this month. But tonight on HHL, we'll discuss how that may change in the short term. We've got Invest 92L out there in the Atlantic Basin. That's got a high chance now in the short term, within 48 hours, to become a depression or get a name as a tropical storm. Next name on the list is Gabrielle. A new wave is coming off the coast of Africa as well. So there are two waves we're watching in the Atlantic Basin. And a new tropical storm is imminent in the eastern Pacific as well, with an area of interest there tagged with a 90% chance of getting the next name of Narda in the eastern Pacific, which would be the 13th, I believe, named storm of the season in that basin. Double pretty much what we've seen so far. So Invest 92L, quick refresher on what that means. Investigative areas. Invest is short for. Record number here, 90 to 99. It recycles, and we're back to 92 now. And basin indicator, L, Atlantic Basin. If it was an E, of course, it'd be the Eastern Pacific. All right, here's a look at climatology. Peak of the season occurred last week on September the 10th, and we're coming down off that peak, but still the entire month is still very active. And also about the first half of October usually runs pretty active as well, at least above normal usually. All right, tropical activity right now. Not a whole lot going on out there, except for this massive tropical wave. It is huge. And this is Invest 92L right now. And the updated outlook here from the Hurricane Center puts it at 90% odds in the short term within 2 days and 90% within 7 days. It's looking a little bit more organized than it did yesterday. And it's also just a very, very large system here. So once it does kind of condense itself and tighten up a little bit, we'll likely see that get a name. Bigger picture here on satellite imagery, infrared. You can see just how large it is. We've got a flare-up of convection getting closer to the center of it there. I mean, aside from that, it's looking pretty healthy. On visible satellite imagery, it looks a little bit better, where you can see the broad spin here. Let's let it loop again. A very broad spin here. Look at that moisture fetch kind of going down to the south and east there. And in terms of the water vapor imagery, yeah, it is surrounded by some pretty dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, even some dust here off to the north. But as long as it can effectively almost fence itself off from ingesting any of that dry air as it moves off to the west, where the air is still dry, but not overly dry. It's still got a pretty good moisture envelope wrapped around it there. The other wave coming off the coast of Africa right now really doesn't look like much. It's got a little bit of some convection with it, but that's why it's got a low chance over the next week or so. Those odds only stand at around 20%. Long-range models here don't do a whole lot with it as well right now, but we'll see. We'll watch it as it plays on out. So we are getting model trajectories on this, with the hurricane models running now for 24 hours straight, and pretty consistent here, showing a track to the northwest and then eventually turning north. Now, this could potentially be an impactful storm for, say, Bermuda. But as of right now, this doesn't look to be a threat for the Leeward Islands, doesn't look to be a threat to the eastern United States. These models take us out 7 days, so next Tuesday could be a threat for Bermuda, and that looks to be about it right now. Those were the hurricane models. Here's the ensemble plots. GFS and European models running the same model several times, changing the variables on it slightly to get a different outcome. And there's a little more spread in this, especially in the long range. Very consistent, tightly clustered here in the short term, but disperse, divergence as we get farther out in time, anywhere from taking it towards the Bahamas. Just a few ensemble members do that, and most of which do recurve it out to sea. So that's likely going to be what happens here, is at least with the data we have now. These are some outliers farther to the south, which would indicate a much weaker system. Stronger storm would get pulled north a little bit faster. All right, model comparison here. We jump out days up to Friday. We still don't really have much development here according to the models, and it's not until we get towards the weekend and next week that we really start to see it flare up on the models, which is interesting considering it's looking better out there right now. We're pretty close to getting it be a named storm, or at least a tropical depression. Also, spatial agreement here is off. You've got the GFS that lingers it much longer to the south, threatening Bermuda not until like the middle of next week. Here's Bermuda's storm system at this point still to the south. And then we've got the European racing out to sea here as likely a hurricane at that point. And then you see the GFS does threaten Bermuda and then takes that hard turn to the right and brings it out into the open Atlantic. All right, today is Tuesday, so we did get the updated Climate Prediction Center outlooks for the next 2 and 3 weeks. This takes us through the end of September. not very impressive at all. One area here with a low chance of some tropical development. Yeah, there is an area in the southern Gulf, too, Bay of Campeche area there for possibility still here out looking for Central American gyre. But notice the East Pac does highlight an area here with likely seeing the energy staying in the eastern Pacific instead of going over to the Gulf or the western Caribbean. So just one area here of low chances. Heading into the first week of October now. Another area here highlighting the main development region, and again, still highlighting Western Caribbean, Southern Gulf, but low chances here. So overall, not a huge model signal in the long run for a lot of development coming out of the Atlantic Basin. We'll see if that changes. All right, Eastern Pacific, we've got what's left here of Mario. Mario kind of had a resurgence or a resurrection, if you will. Kind of fell apart this weekend and then became a tropical storm again. Now it's back to a tropical depression and eventually going to be a remnant low, staying out to sea. And then right behind it, pretty large, pronounced, broad tropical wave here. It's got a high chance, 90% odds now, of becoming the next named storm in that basin, which would be Narda, next on the list here. And they've had a very active season in the Eastern Pacific so far here in 2025. All right, coming up after a quick break today, September the 16th is the anniversary of Hurricane Floyd's landfall in 1999. So we've got part 6 of our ongoing series there from 1999. And later on, we've got tropical trivia. So stick around. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. Today marks the anniversary of 1999's Hurricane Floyd as it made landfall in North Carolina. Today is part 6 of our series from back then.
You know, this city of 8,000 may be small, but it was built by folks with big dreams of a quiet life to raise their families.
And now the big question is, can they get that charming way of life back? The floodwaters have receded, so now the real work begins.
Seriously, but that's the only thing we can do. We could pray. I mean, to ask God to please take this water away so we can go home.
Trying to find out, you know, if I can rebuild, if it's contaminated, or, well, everything of mine is lost.
What the status is, whether it's safe for occupancy.
Turning in my keys, trying to find out about my building and see where I really go from there.
It's so confusing, and everyone is working really hard, trying to do the right things.
We've been going in and cleaning up the units and preparing them for occupancy. The people that have volunteered thus far are great. And that's what it's all about. We have to stick together and be united in times like these.
She was flooded out too.
Nobody has any landlines, so GT's offered the service for everybody to come in here. People were able to get in touch with their friends and family they haven't been able to get in touch with yet. So
I should have 9, 10, 11, and 12. When the water came in, everything shut down and we lost everything. The cable that I'm working on here is color-coded, and so I'm having to put a tone on each individual pair back to him. And he can determine which pair is which.
We get Big Brother up there started up, get particle board started up. We'll get the community back up for them.
I'm pretty sure it will hurt long term, but I mean, we take it one day at a time, see what we can do. That's about the best we can do.
There are people that have lost their lives, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything. And I mean, we've lost a business, but at least we're still here and we're okay and we can go on. So a lot of people will never get over this.
From the first moment Floyd floodwaters came to the first repair, Franklin leaders trudged through the water and grime to help answer questions from business owners and citizens. Mayor Jim Council gave 13 News a tour of the town's now semi-dry streets.
We're now looking down toward 2nd Avenue toward International Paper. And this was the first block that we went in, let in yesterday to begin cleanup. And they did so well that we opened up the entire city to clean up today. Most of the devastation has already been hauled off by VDOT.
But you said there was a tremendous amount of trash because everybody threw away everything.
Yeah, piles and mounds of trash. Very typical to this, but even more so. This street is going up North Main Street, and these are what the merchants threw out this morning when we let them in.
And that's just the morning's work.
That's
right
just
there.
the morning's work. But those are those businesses. They've pretty much thrown away everything because nothing was worth saving. And if we go back up the hill, we're looking up to the highest part of town, and that's where the phone company is putting in a temporary switching service and rebuilding their plant. We're still without phone service, but hope for that will be restored by the end of the week.
It's just phone service in spots?
No, all over the city. We just started getting dial tone yesterday in one section of town. But then, and this is south of town, and they've already done some cleaning up this way because they had all day yesterday when they got started.
It's hard to recover from losing income over that period of time.
It really is going to be.
That means people have to be very dedicated to rebuilding.
Well, dedicated to rebuilding, and I just hope and pray that the citizens of the area will be very will patronize each of the businesses even more so than before. All the businesses, but most particularly the ones who've suffered the most down here. But I tell you, the devastation hasn't brought me tears. What brought me tears is when you see kids groups show up to help.
Yeah.
You see Red Cross, you see the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
You see all these people that care so much about people like us who come from wherever, and we didn't even know they were coming. That's what makes me cry.
The train depot is like one of the oldest.
Yeah. Landmark. It's been here for a long, long time. In fact, the trains played a major part in the establishment of Franklin because this was where the railroad and the river came together. And it was at Barrett's Landing, which is right down at the end, which is what was where Franklin started. These are the hard things, the rebuilding and all that, the cleaning out.
And the volunteers, have they gone away or are they
still
here?
Well, there's some volunteers, but we could have used some volunteers today, but we moved this process up so quickly that we probably didn't get the word out very well. But we could have used some help today, and there's still businesses left that can use some volunteer help.
Well, you know, there might be a few of your friends watching this.
Well, we hope.
Talk to me about this old train station. I mean, you said that was the heart and soul of the original Franklin.
Yeah, this is the site of our train station, which is where the commerce started in Franklin, when the railroad and the river met. And there was an awful lot of transportation back and forth. This is how people got their goods and services to Norfolk or west to Raleigh.
A lot of damage to this?
Yes, a lot of underpinning damage there, and we're afraid there's been some damage to this old building. We certainly want to reconstruct it and to bring it back if we can.
You know, I wonder how people are going to view this 100 years from now, you know, 100 years from what people normally think of as the 100-year flood.
Well, we hope that it'll be something that they will behold and say, can you remember when? And I think that it's going to be more beautiful than ever. It's a really nice opportunity under tragic circumstances to do some real facelifting and to add some additional value to our town.
I'm going to keep this snapshot in my mind and save it for 1 year from today.
Please.
From Franklin to the Eastern Shore, hundreds of helping hands surfaced from the floodwaters to help the victims of Floyd.
And next, we'll show you exactly how area residents helped out everybody who lost their homes and belongings.
Welcome back. Here's the final part in the 1999 special Fury and Floods with former anchor Barbara Sierra and former chief meteorologist Jeff Lawson.
Tragedies such as the one that Floyd brought us tend to bring people together.
And that's certainly what happened in this case. After seeing the devastation, many of you wanted to help.
And that's why we teamed up with the Salvation Army, both Norfolk and on the peninsula, to try to give people an opportunity to help.
Because they're real nice clothes, and somebody should be able to use them.
I'll take them off your hands.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Here, grab this, help out. You never know when you can need something.
When people lose everything, they need all the help they can get.
I'm surprised myself at all these different things in here. Children clothes, work clothes. Flood victims are really out of everything.
And I enjoy it. I really do. Because that could have been me.
Hi there.
Hello. Got some more for you.
Thank you so much. I don't want to go grocery shopping anymore. I want to tell you.
Grocery shopping in reverse. We've got lotions, we've got soaps, we've got tons of soaps. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a lot of first aid stuff yet.
This one next. You have to put yourself in their shoes. Kind of think of what do you use during the day. And this is what we're looking for.
It's food items. She got a load too.
It's a big job, and I think it's going to get bigger tonight as people get off work. Can't forget the furry people, can
Oh, no. They had it on the news earlier where they didn't have dog food and cat food, so we've got together what we could get together.
And then I had these clothes that my wife passed away, was killed in an accident in April, and I've given some to consignment shop, but when this came along, I thought this would be perfect.
I felt I needed to do something personally because we were blessed. Not lucky, we were blessed.
Floyd's fury and floods, a historic event for this region of the country.
One that many people will never forget the rest of their lives, and our children and grandchildren will talk about it for years to come.
And that'll wrap up this 13 News special report on Hurricane Floyd.
All right, time for tropical trivia. Yesterday's question was, what year did the U.S. Weather Bureau switch to using men's names as well as women's names for tropical systems? Was it in 1960, 65, 72, or 79? It was in 1979. And going off of that question, today's question is, what was the first male name used for a tropical storm? Was it Bert, Bob, Ben, or Darren? Back in 1979. I'll have the answer for you tomorrow night on Hurricane Hub Live. Remember, we are here 7 days a week at 8 p.m. on 13 News Now Plus for the latest on the tropics. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 8.